like to talk to you about what I call some basic tools to keep in your toolkit. And with these few tools in your toolkit, I can assure you that George is going to be calling you back and asking you to be a speaker here to your peers one day very soon in the future. The first thing I like to ask, and I want you to be honest with yourself, how many of you know today exactly what you want to do when you grow up? Raise your hands. You know exactly what you want, no doubt about it. Magnificent. All right. Who in the room don't have a clue? You really do not know that. Thank you for being honest. Come on, is she the only one that really doesn't? That's right. But the beauty of that is whether you know or you don't know, let me tell you something. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But I tell you what does matter. What does matter is whether you know today or not, you make sure you take all of the tools that we're going to talk about, put those on your tool belt, and whether you decide at the end of this day or the first thing tomorrow morning what you would like to do professionally, you are prepared to do it. One of the key mantras in Girl Scouting is to be prepared. And that is the most important thing that each of you will need to take into consideration. In 1977, I entered the University of Tennessee, Knoxville as a freshman student on a pre-med scholarship. And I knew one thing for sure, and that was I would be graduating and becoming a medical doctor. Specifically, I knew that I was going to be an OBGYN. My path was clear, my heart was set, my mind was unwavering. My performance towards getting that medical degree was exceptional. However, something happened along the way. I ended up getting a summer job and working for an OBGYN. And while working for that doctor, I learned some things about the medical practice that no one in my family had ever shared with me. And the thing that I learned is that I don't like being on call. If you're an OBGYN, you don't predict and determine when a child is being born. I decided that that was not the lifestyle for me, so I got out of the pre-med program, ended up re-enrolling into the College of Communications, graduating from UT with a Bachelor of Science in Communications with a focus on broadcast communications and a minor in organic chemistry. Now combine those two, and what kind of a career path do you have from there? Well, the beauty of it is that the broadcasting led to me having a professional career working in Knoxville with a local television station. I loved the work. But once again, what I didn't know is that by working in that particular business sector, you gave up something that was very important to me. So I've already decided I don't like being on call. The other thing I determined is I don't like having a lack of anonymity. I don't like people knowing who I am just because of what I do. So I dealt with that, got uncomfortable with it, and decided I want to get out of this. A lot of my work involved me meeting other business leaders in the community of Knoxville, and I decided I know what I want to do next. I want to work in corporate America. But how do I get there? I quickly learned I needed another tool for my tool belt. So I ended up enrolling in the College of Business Administration and getting a master's in business administration. And I decided to focus my heart and attention on those areas that I had absolutely no core strength in. Finance. Now, how many of you here love accounting and finance? I know, Sylvia, keep your hand. One, magnificent. If that is a passionate like of yours, pursue it to the nth degree. Because to have that as a like is a beautiful thing. I did not care for finance and accounting, but that became my area of concentration when I worked on my MBA at UT. So I decided that my tool belt needed to be retooled. But however, upon completing that degree, the one thing I never expected that I would end up doing would be the CEO for a nonprofit. Immediately upon getting my degree, I ended up working for several corporations. I've had a phenomenal time doing that. But at the same time, each time, I had to put a new tool in my tool belt in order to get there. So education, that's what EEOG is going to stress with you and has stressed with you. I can't stress it enough. Your education is the most important tool you're going to put in your tool belt. Another tool, your attitude. I tell people all the time, if you have a degree in something, but you have the best attitude and willingness of anyone in the room, you will go further, you will get recognized, you will have doors open for you that you had never thought before. The one thing that you have total control over is your attitude towards every and any situation. If your attitude is such that it's Friday morning, it's raining outside, it's 9 o'clock, I'd rather be at home in bed, it's fine. But don't bring that attitude with you when you choose to get out of bed and go and be somewhere else. So your attitude is immensely impactful in how people perceive you, how they accept you, whether they take you in or decide to leave you out. It's really fascinating. Sylvia knows my children very well, but I have a 14-year-old daughter. And my daughter is always making this comment because she floats around town with me some. She's always saying, Mom, people always seem to like you. And I'm always saying, Haley, I don't know if people like me or not. That's not important. They don't know me. But what they like is the attitude that I bring to every situation that I put myself in. I go positive, I go prepared, and I go committed. And when I can't take those things with me, I'd just rather stay at home. I'd rather cancel and just let you know I'm not coming. But to go with attitude that says that I really have no desire to be there, you're better off not being there. My role with the Girl Scouts did not start when they hired me nearly 4 years ago. My role with the Girl Scouts actually started 14 years ago when I was a volunteer with them. I'm going to share with you a short story about how attitude can impact an outcome. As a volunteer with the Girl Scouts, it forced me into some opportunities I had never imagined. But one of the things that led to was me being the chair of the board. I was the chair of the board for this agency for 6 years. While serving as the chair of the board, I had an opportunity to bring another volunteer on board by the name of Ron Samuels. Ron Samuels was a vice president of a bank at that time. What I did not prepare myself for was that fast forward 10 years, Ron Samuels would be calling me because he and some investors were starting a bank. And for this bank, they wanted to do two things, and that was to put together a corporate board that could launch this bank into a $75 million raise. In other words, we need to raise $75 million in order to open this bank and to make it the largest capital raise in the state of Tennessee to make that happen. When I was volunteering with the Girl Scouts, and Ron was on the same board that I was volunteering, he and I worked on a golf committee. I don't play golf. It wasn't my interest. But the attitude I took to the table and into that room, he never forgot. And when he had to go back into this community and extract from it people who could sit around the table and serve on a corporate board with him and help him, along with the investors out of New York, raise $75 million, he thought of me. How did I prepare myself for that? That I wasn't prepared for. But he knew I had the tools that would help me get prepared. And he knew that whatever I was lacking, I would go seek it, find it, and bring it to the table. So just this week, Avenue Bank celebrated the opening of the second branch. Our third branch will be opening in about 4 more months. The bank has exceeded its performance expectations. And yes, we did raise a little more than $75 million, which set the bar so high that another bank is trying to launch itself here in the very same market, and they're announcing they've got to be bigger and better and are trying to raise $95 million. But good for them. But the point was, this one has done it. The mark has been set. We were the first to do it, and I ended up being a part of something because I was prepared with right attitude.